Hello, this is Inside the Press Box with Sunil Sunder Raj of the Everyday Fan Sports. Today, I'm happy to be speaking with Brad Lester, also known as the Speed Genius and owner of Athletes Elite Performance in Auburn, Georgia. Brad, once again, thank you so much for the opportunity, to speak with you. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. I appreciate you having me on.
Hey, Brad, congrats, as said, on your business. Over 20 years of experience working with, more than 15 NFL running backs, some of the top tier and elite running backs in, the NFL today. Najee Harris, the Pittsburgh Steelers, Chris Carson, the Seattle Seahawks, and Alvin Kamara, the New Orleans Saints. I guess first and foremost, I had to ask you, Brad, how good does that feel to know that, all your hard work is, not only, paid off in the past, but, continues to this day?
Honestly, it's a really great feeling, especially when you got to work with these guys before that, they had their success. Yeah. And, just to see that these guys play on Sunday and excel the way they are and have great careers, it just makes me happy, to know that I was be able to, make some kind of a difference and, help them get to the next level.
Yeah, no, I agree. Najee was at the University of Alabama, said all-time, leading rusher, won the Doak Walker Award. Alvin Kamara said, rookie of the year and, 2017. And you look at Chris Carson, that's such an inspiration, a seventh round, draft pick. And look where, it said he's ended up here with the Seahawks.
That was huge for him because, with him going in the seventh round, the chance of you making the roster is usually slim to none.
Yeah.
So to see what he went through just to even get on the field is amazing to me. Now, he's one of the starters and, he's coming out to his last couple of years, but I think he's going to go out, on a great note.
Yeah, no, I agree. Hey, I want, before I get into the various programs that you have, with Athletes Elite Performance is, I believe, the center, state of the art. I think it's like 20,000 square feet. And it's great is that you guys focusing on different levels. I saw performance assessment, performance development, physical therapy, and nutritional fuel. And I think one of your mottos is train, recover, and repeat. So if you just, want to talk about, the facilities, in terms of, where these athletes, train, Brad.
Definitely. So actually, it's bigger than 20,000.
Okay.
It's actually 50,000 square feet.
Wow. Okay.
We got an indoor 70-yard indoor straight line track.
Okay.
50-yard indoor field. 15,000 square foot state of the art weight room. Mm-hmm. Recovery center. We have a meal prep person that comes in that's on site. Anything that's needed for our athletes is right there. And we're also in the process of working out a deal to have, Marriott or Hilton, sponsor our guys. So when they come in town, they have somewhere to stay.
That's fantastic. I think that's the one thing is that people don't realize in terms of the physical therapy, the recovery, as football is a very physical, sport. You take a lot of pounding. In terms of nutrition as well, what you put into your body, I said, if you want to, again, be at that peak, level, you have to, in terms of your diet. I just had to ask you, you played, football for a long time and you know what the grind is in terms of 24/7, 365. But again, when it comes down to, how you treat your body, how you recover, and then, once again, with, proper nutrition as well, Brad.
It's huge, and so many people neglect that part of their game, and your recovery, which is part of your nutrition, is just as important as the training phase. Yeah. So I always emphasize to the guys when they leave, hey, you should already have your protein shake there ready to go. Already have a meal ready to go. Mm-hmm. Everything it's a process, and the process is an all-day process. And being an elite athlete, you don't get the luxury of, having free time and being able to hang out like everyone else. It's basically anything that everyone else is doing, you almost got to do the opposite. And I tell my players too, your best work or your hardest work is done when nobody's watching, or when nobody else is working. You should always try to, find ways to get better when everybody else is not working.
Yeah, no, well said. Hey, I wanted to move to the running back program, and I'm so impressed by that in terms of the fundamentals that you teach, the techniques. It's just not about running the ball. There's so much that goes into it. I mean, in terms of route running, how you move the ball, in terms of and I'm wondering if you can go into that. It's well described there in terms of your responsibilities as a running back. Just talk about it. And I love that motto. Every rep is a rep, and the difference between a 5-yard and a 60-yard run. Just talk about that, Brad.
Definitely. So, my biggest thing is as a running back at the SEC, ACC level, Big Ten level, anywhere like that, everybody that plays running back can run the football. Yeah. And that's not a question. The question now is, what else can you do outside of just running the football? Can you pass protect? Can you catch out the backfield? Play special teams? Are you dependable on not fumbling the football? I mean, it's just a lot of different things that come into play, and just being able to be a patient runner, and not self-doubt yourself, doubt yourself when things aren't going your way. It's like I always tell people, I say, hey, a 15 carry night for 60 yards can turn into 16 for 120 just by one long run. Yeah. And that just comes from being patient and trusting your game, and not panicking when things aren't going well.
Yeah, I mean, it's just being versatile, being multifaceted in terms of, again, running, catching, blocking, as you alluded to. Hey, you're a busy man,
I'm parked right now because I'm actually headed down to Georgia Tech to work with a few players there now.
Oh, so very
that's
nice.
Why I'm on the move.
I see that, you included, of course, in your notes that you're going to be doing some subcontracting work for NFL teams and then putting together that running back program for 8th through 12th graders. So commendable. I guess if you want to just, describe that and, how exciting that is, for you, Brad.
So I'm still in the process of working out the contracting deal.
Okay.
I've been in touch with several teams. They're very, very interested, but we just haven't got anything finalized yet. We will soon. But our biggest thing right now that we have coming up is our running back workshops that we're going to be doing in almost 15 or 16 different states all throughout the end of June and the beginning of July. So we're going to be state to state doing these one-day workshops, helping running backs get better, showing them what the techniques that we use on a regular basis that they don't have access to because they're so far away, so they can't come here. So we're going to go to them and just do one day. Make it 24/7 sports is going to be covering the event. Rivals is going to cover the event, and I'm sure several other major platforms of recruiting are going to want to cover this event as well. So we're putting a lot into it. I don't know a lot of people that are doing just running back workshops all across the country. So we're really excited about getting that started and seeing where it goes.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Trying to separate yourself from the rest of the field. That's awesome. Hey, and what's great is that with your business that you focus in on the younger kids. You start very early, ages 7 through 12. Talk about that, and you have again different levels there as well.
So now, even with that, we've kind of changed that model a little bit.
Okay.
So the youngest we're taking now is around 10.
Okay.
But that even that 10 or 11-year-old, they had to be like, at the elite level to where, they're not gonna, they're not gonna slow the group down. So we do start from a younger age, but we're selective on who we bring in to the program at that age. So most of our guys are middle school, high school.
Okay.
And I have a big number of collegiate and NFL guys as well, but it starts from building a high school base and working up.
Yeah, that's tremendous. And what's great is that, again, going back to the skills, you work on that conditioning, that flexibility. There are so many intangibles that go into it, Brad, as well.
Yes, sir. A lot. Yeah. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. As being a running back trainer, I'm more than that because I actually majored in kinesiology. Yeah. So anything human performance, speed development, strength development, power development, I can do that, on top of the running back training. So, just working with us and working with me, you just get all phases of the game. You get your speed, you get your training, and you get your position-specific work.
So what does a daily schedule entail for you, Brad, every day? I'm not.
So like today, I started at about 4:45 this morning.
Okay.
to about 8. Then again from 10 to about 1:30, 2 o'clock. I'm on a break now, and then I'm headed to Georgia Tech as we speak. That's why I'm actually sitting in my car right now. So I'm headed to Georgia Tech now to train a couple running backs there. So it's always on the go.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
It's a blessing. I don't complain about it. It's a lot of people that aren't working right now or don't have whatever going on. So I'm fortunate and blessed to be able to do what I do.
I'm just so fascinated what you were able to accomplish at Auburn University, and kinesiology, and taking classes there, doing an internship. Just talk about that process, just in terms of the academics, and just being able to again flourish on that level, Brad.
I had changed my major, made me change back. So she's been really big on me about academics and finding, life after football and, what I wanted to do after football. Mm-hmm. And so basically at the end of the day, I found out after football, I wanted to do football. And so that's why I stayed in the field, of what I'm doing, but, just on the other end of it, for getting guys ready instead of me actually playing. And so it actually helped me a lot during my career as well while I'm studying. And then I'm training in the off season. I'm using everything that I learned in the classroom, mm-hmm. as well as, what our staff and coaches, provided to us as well.
Yeah. Hey, stand out, said player on the football team, for the Tigers. Just remarkable numbers that you were able to put up, averaging 5 yards per touch, number one all-time touchdown, per carry leader. Talk about, playing, said there, for Auburn University.
It was a pretty good feeling. We had some other good running backs. We had guys like Kenny Irons. We had guys like Tristan Davis, Mario Fannin. Carl Stewart was a great fullback. So when you had guys like that, and then when I first got there, it was Cadillac Williams and Ronnie Brown. So to be there for, a year to learn from those two, and then, right after that, basically, moving to the starting rotation, it was pretty good. So, being, splitting carries with Kenny Irons was always, a pleasure because he's a great runner. Mm-hmm. And then after that, after Kenny left, I just pretty much took over the backfield. And then, I had guys like Mario Fannin and Tristan Davis there, that helped assist as well. Both of those were great athletes. Tristan, he played for 4 or 5 different NFL teams. Great guy, great mentor. He's a running back coach now too here in Atlanta. And so sometimes, I'll get players, and if we have a lot going on, or if I feel like they fit, with his program, because I think he trains a younger model. I always send him his way because he's a great guy, great teammate, and just try to always support each other.
Yeah, that's outstanding. I'm wondering, just we see how today, the SEC, premier conference, said in the country. I'm wondering, just seeing that tradition carrying, just had to get your take on it. Just, the landscape has changed so much, now, of course, with college athletics, college football, the NIL and transfer portal, and there's so many variables now involved. Had to get your perspective on that, Brad.
I think it's kind of long overdue, mm-hmm. but it needs to be more controlled. My opinion, I think in a perfect world, these guys get NIL deals, I feel like it should be held. The money should be held somewhere until they graduate. Yeah. And then once they graduate, finish their degree, they have something to start their lives with. But it's kind of hard to kind of monitor, where money's coming from, and it's a lot. It's a lot. Transfer portal now, with players not having to sit out anymore, it's changing the game. I feel like that part is very fair because a coach can leave anytime they want to, and they don't have to sit out and stop coaching. So I feel like for players, it's a blessing that they can, if they don't get an opportunity where they are the first time, they can start over with the new school and not have any issues for us getting on the field immediately.
That's true. Just going back, you were talking about some of those companies before, 24/7 Huddle. It's changed also in terms of social media now with the athletes as well. Again, and you've been able to capitalize that on as well. I had to ask you just in terms of with the athletes and even with your own business, just, how you've been able to, again, cash in on that and just thrive, with that. I had to ask you about that, Brad.
Well, social media is a big platform. That's really where I get, 80% of my clients from Instagram, Twitter. Mm-hmm. Without that, it's kind of hard to get your name out there.
Yeah.
So I can say, social media platforms, using it in the right way is a huge benefit, huge benefit.
Yeah, no, definitely. Okay, I wanted to ask you definitely about Parkview High School. I'm so glad you provided that information to me. I mean, I just when you look back, I know you're smiling. It said 3 consecutive championships, a 52-game winning streak. I mean, just spectacular numbers: 6,200 yards, average 10.1 yards per carry. I mean, just incredible numbers. Just when you look back on those times, especially, I mean, nothing better than high school football, Friday night lights, Saturdays during the fall. Just talk about, I mean, of course, I'm sure, you can relate to, what these athletes, has said, have experienced. Just talk about those days, just playing for Parkview High School.
I mean, it was an amazing time. I mean, I had some great teammates back then that, made a huge difference. I had guys like Jeff Francoeur, who was number 1 pick in the MLB draft when we came out of high school.
Yeah.
Had another running back, that was just as good as me, Sean Dawkins. I learned a lot from him. He's now the running back coach for University of Memphis. So having guys like that, and, Cecil Flo is a great coach. I came in and learned a lot. My freshman year was tough, but I came in and adjusted, to the program, what Cecil Flo had, I had to buy into what he was selling, which is, come into the weight room, be on time every day, learning how to break down film and break down defenses, just being consistent with everything that I do. And so, it helped me have a long career there. And Friday nights there was amazing. We were 15-0 every year. So every team we played, they gave us our best shot.
Yeah.
And, now when I look back on it, it feels great because every now and then I go back to the school because my younger brother, Brian Miller, he's actually a coach there, defensive back coach, recruiting coordinator for Parkview High School. And when I go back and they have the signs up from all the state championship teams, and they haven't won a state championship since. So, it's been almost 20 years and they still haven't won another state championship. So, it's a good feeling to know that, we left that legacy of, being the last team to win. But I'm pretty sure they're going to get one here soon because they got a lot of talent. They got a whole lot of talent.
Oh, that's wonderful. I had to ask you, once you graduated from Parkview High School, I'm intrigued, and what, led Auburn to being the perfect fit for you. And there were any other schools, but, specifically Auburn University, Brad?
I consider Texas, Florida State, Stanford. I even looked at Alabama a little bit, but Auburn was just the best situation for me. Man, they had running backs, say Ronnie Brown, Cadillac Williams, and then Brandon Jacobs was even there for a short amount of time. So, Cadillac was a running back I looked up to, and to have an opportunity to be in the same backfield as him and learn from him for a year was a good opportunity. And just the track record of running backs that Auburn had. Yeah. It was almost a no-brainer. It wasn't far from home, and again, I had a great support system around me, so I felt like Auburn was going to be the best fit. That's
great. I'm wondering also, not only when you were at Parkview High School, but at Auburn, those rivalry games. I mean, they're. I mean, of course, we were talking about Auburn, Alabama. I mean, it said one of the best, probably, maybe ever. Just talk about those, type of games and playing in them.
So I had 2. In high school we had Brookwood High School, which is one of the most prestige high schools in America, on top of what Parkview is. So playing them every year. I mean, the stand's gonna be packed out. I mean, it's you walk into the stadium 2 hours before the game, and it's gonna be shoulder to shoulder. Like that's how crazy it is. And it was the same at Auburn when we play Alabama. Anytime you play Alabama, it was a big deal. I mean, you could lose every game of the whole season, but you better beat Alabama. I mean, that's how serious these fans take that game. And just to be able to be a part of that tradition, it's pretty cool. Yeah. And now, especially now looking back at it, and beating Alabama 6 years in a row, because that was part of that program. We lost on my last year, but previous to that, we had a 6-game winning streak against them. And that's pretty impressive, and something that we always look back and cherish.
That's cool. That's very good. Hey, and for you, I had to ask you personally, what made the game of football so special to play? I know it's a long-winded question, but something, some of the intangibles, something that stuck out to you. I mean, again, you played for a number of years. Just something, that during the course when you reflect back and look,
It really started before I started playing. My older brother played at Georgia Tech, so being a kid and going to his games and being on the sideline and being in the stands wearing my shoulder pads, watching his game at Georgia Tech, and seeing him win a national championship his freshman year, and that kind of inspired me to want to play. And my dad, he's a real big football guy, so it's just kind of in the family blood, and something that I always wanted to do, since I was a young kid. And it's something that I always pursued, worked hard at getting at. Started training early, man. I started training in like 5th, 6th grade. I started lifting weights in like almost 6th grade too.
Wow.
So I've always prepped for it, always loved the game. And, that's why I still try to stay around it now.
Yeah, I think people talked about that culture, that brotherhood of football that, these guys remain, said you're, well, it goes well beyond, said the game of football, Brad. Just talk
Definitely.
about that and then having that commitment, that dedication, to the game, because if you don't have that passion, it easily, can be gone. It can slip away. Just talk about that.
And so the biggest thing for me, and I harp on this a lot with a lot of my clients is, you're only as good as your last game, and you're only as good as your last year. So you always got to stay, in preparation to get better, or always act as if, you didn't have a great year. I mean, it's just like what you did yesterday was what you did yesterday, and you always got to prepare for a new day and a new season. And that's just something we're real big on. I mean, so a player can have a great workout yesterday, come in the next day and have a bad workout, and we're over assessing that bad workout. Like, hey, we can't have another day like that. We got to have the passion and dedication to give 100% and do what we need to do each day, to be able to be successful this season.
Yeah. Hey, I had to ask you, down there in Lilburn, Georgia, in terms of, and I'm always, curious about the level of talent down there, not only in Lilburn, but the rest of the state of Georgia as well. So the players that you bring in, I'm just, I wanted to ask you about that, Brad.
Definitely. So, I mean, Georgia's a hotbed for high school recruiting. And you're going to always find great recruits here. The level of talent here, I mean, it's amazing. I mean, I was even in just Gwinnett County where I'm at. I've heard scouts or college scouts say they could just come to this county recruit and not go anywhere else. I mean, that's how much talent is here. And it's real competitive every year, and it prepares you for the next level. That's the biggest thing. A lot of players leave this county and go to play, and they're so well prepped because they've played the best competition year in and year out. They're freshmen through senior year in high school, so now they're freshmen in college. They're adjusting very well, opposed to a guy that played, somewhere else at like maybe a smaller school or smaller region where it wasn't as competitive. They don't come in right away and make as big an impact.
I'm wondering, with the University of Georgia winning a national championship, I mean, how big, that was, and the impact, said on the state. I had to get your take as well on that, Brad.
Yeah, I'm not really a big Georgia fan, but
Okay.
yeah, I mean, that was a big year for them. And I know running back coach Del McGee over there. Hats off to him. He's one of the best running back coaches in the country, and I'm happy for him. I'm happy for those guys.
Yeah.
That was around it. I know that actually got a chance to win a championship. It was well overdue. It was well overdue, and they already had great recruits. Now the game for recruiting with them is even better. I mean, they're bringing in 5 stars left and right. Yeah. So they're gonna be a pretty good team and competitive for the next few years here.
Yeah, no, definitely. Hey, you talked about your brother, your dad. Just wanting your support from your family. Said. Not only, of course, when you played football, but just, and then, of course, studied at Auburn University, but also, here now, running your own business. Just had to ask you about that, Brad.
Definitely. So, I mean, my family is a big influence on me. My mom, both of my dads, and my brother, too, especially with him being around the game forever. I mean, he's been coaching now for almost 25 years. So, his opinion, it goes very far. He's been assistant coach of the year 2 years in a row, 2018, 2019. He's been assistant offensive coordinator at Savannah State, head coach at Lakeside High School here in Georgia. Now he's the assistant head coach at Hebron Christian Academy. And so hearing his opinion and seeing how he breaks down the game is big for me. Even from a business standpoint, it gives me a lot of advice for things I need to do to make my business better.
That's great. Hey, I didn't want to overlook that as far as you played in the CFL, I think, and also tried out for the NFL as well. I had to ask you about what those experiences were like for you as well, Brad.
It was tough for me. So, I had a major injury my last year at Auburn. which kind of hindered things from being where they should have been. I know going into my last year, they had me projected going over in the third round, and then I had neck injury and I had an ACL, MCL, LCL tear that last year, which made a huge impact on what my draft stock was going to be and things of that nature. So even when I went to Canada, I mean, it was tough because they already had another running back. And, a lot of people don't know this. You're only allowed to play with so many Americans on the field at one time in Canada. So, to make the roster up there is just as hard as the NFL because you don't have as many numbers of players on the field that are American. So I don't know. I had a successful career. Overall, I'm happy with everything. And just after a while of having so many issues with the injuries, I just kind of walked away from it. But no regrets. I had a great career and had a lot of fun. Met a lot of great people, and it helps me now to do what I do now. So like even when I make calls for some of my players, a lot of these coaches and recruiters are people that I either played against or played with or built some kind of relationship with over my career.
Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, in terms of the networking and developing those relationships with the coaches and recruiters, talk about that aspect. I think that's really important, Brad.
That's very big. So like especially for my clients because anybody ever needs anything for us trying to get an opportunity on a scholarship, camp invites, training camp invites, I can make a call and at least get their film in front of the person or people that's needed to make a decision on, what our kids are high school players, NFL, college, NFL, whatever level career. I mean, it makes a difference when you have somebody that, is connected to be able to help you get those opportunities.
Yeah. You can speak from experience in terms of the injuries. I mean, how you're one play away, from sustaining a serious injury. And then, I think these days, people talk about mental health as well, how important, it's tough, man. I mean, especially when you have injuries and you get down and, in terms of your recovery and, trying to, come back from, again, could be a career-ending injury. But just talk about that, Brad.
That's a hard piece. I have a lot of players that are coming off of serious injuries from this past season, and the hardest thing for them is second guessing themselves if they're back to where they started, and that's a part of the game. So I'm really big on keeping those guys upbeat, being positive. And then the hardest part is the life after football. A lot of players don't really adjust well to not being able to play football. And so that's another big piece for me is to just kind of keep players encouraged. Start trying to help them find a career after football. Even when they're playing football, because at some point it's going to be over. So that's the biggest adjustment for guys now is having a life and a career that they love to do outside of playing the game of football.
I think there's an excellent field that you're in, because I think it's here to stay. It's, we talk about physical therapy, careers that are in demand, and that you talk about players, having careers to fall back on. This is an excellent field to get in where you can really prosper and make a living, Brad.
Oh yeah, definitely. I have a couple players that ask me for my advice, in the training industry, and I'm open arms. If anybody ever asks me, any advice or mentorship, or what I did, the things that helped me make it, and the things that felt like hindered me in the beginning of my career. I'm very open about having conversation, to help the next person make it.
You're a great mentor, Brad. I have to say, you definitely. It's just wonderful to see, how you've been able to pay it forward. Hey, before you get the last word, my final question is, what your message would be to younger athletes out there, and then even people who are willing to break into this profession as well, that are going to view this video and this interview. I just had to ask you about that, Brad.
Best advice I can give is keep chipping away at what you're doing and sharpening your craft each day. You never know. You never know when that opportunity is actually going to break through and fall through your lap. But you don't want to be in a situation where you're not preparing yourself, you're not perfecting your craft to the point that you now get that opportunity and you're not ready. So I always tell players all the time and students all the time, always give your best, keep grinding. You never know when the opportunities will come.
No, definitely. Okay, Brad, you get the last word, just in terms of, those athletes, those players that you're training, family, friends, former teammates, coaches, community there in Lilburn, Georgia, Parkview High School, Auburn University. The floor is yours, Brad.
I just want to thank everybody that's been there through the process, man. It's never easy. A lot of people, they don't see the behind the scenes things that go on, or the things that are trials and tribulations that players or people go through, to get to where they're at. And just to have a support system that I had, and people that had my back and kept me positive, kept me confident, and just kept giving me the resources that I need to make it. That's what I always say. I appreciate them and thank you. It went a long way.
Hey, Brad, just incredible honor and privilege being able to speak with you. Can't thank you enough. And again, wishing you continued success with athletes, elite performance, and just keep up the great job. And can't wait to see what you have, what you're going to do moving forward here.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Thanks.